The hush came over the crowd. All right, good evening. I am very excited to see you all here, this tremendous crowd. My name is Elizabeth Kronk-Warner, and I have the best job in the world because I get to be dean of this fine institution. And I also have the best job in the world today because I have the absolute pleasure to introduce someone that I have tremendous respect for and think so incredibly highly of. And it's really a coup to get her here today to do this for us. So I'm very excited. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the U.S. Magistrate Cecelia Romero. She is an S.J. Quinney College of Law alumna, and she is a magistrate judge for the U.S. District Court of Utah. Prior to her appointment to the bench, Judge Romero was a partner in the Salt Lake City office for the national firm of Holland & Hart. In her law practice, she represented clients in proceedings before federal and state courts, focusing on matters concerning complex commercial litigation and labor and employment law. Before joining Holland & Hart, Judge Romero practiced law with the firm of Ray, Quinney, and Nebecker. She also was a law clerk for Judge Ted Stewart with the Federal District Court within the District of Utah. As a law student, Judge Romero was a note and comment editor for the University of Utah Law Review, a William H. Leary Scholar, and president of the Native American Law Students Association. Her success as an attorney is evident by her selection as a fellow of the Litigation Council of America, as well as her designation as a Mountain State super lawyer and Utah Business Magazine's Utah Legal Elite. In addition, the National Hispanic Bar Association recognized her as a top lawyer under 40, and the Utah State Bar Association has honored her with the award for the advancement of minorities in the legal profession. Judge Romero has been a very, very loyal member of the College of Law and very generous with her time. She has served in the College of Law Board of Trustees and provided valuable insights while serving on the Dean's Diversity Council. We are very, very proud of her as an alumni and most appreciative of her time she is giving us today. So with that, I introduce you to Judge Romero.
Thank you. I am very honored to be here with you today and talk with you. You should know that you are my first public appearance since, outside of the bench, of course, since taking the bench in June. I have been politely declining other invitations, but when Dean Aguilar called me, I felt like I couldn't tell him no, since he did let me into law school eventually. You would be happy to know, maybe, that he waitlisted me the first go-around. And so I tell you these things in the event that this speech does not live up to your expectations. You can blame Reyes. You are embarking on an excellent path. You can expect to get a top-notch education and training that at times will seem impossible to conquer. But I am here to tell you that you can, in fact, do it. I say that as someone that came here as a first-generation college and law student that knew absolutely nothing about this world or environment. I cannot even count the number of times that I called my mother crying, saying, I can't do it, it's too hard. Everybody else seems so much more prepared than I am. And her advice was always the same. Just keep going. You can do it. And one time she told me something that really stuck. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody doesn't do it. There's only 105 of you. And so you just have to keep going and getting through it. And a saying that I've always said to myself throughout my career is that if they can do it, I can do it. And that has always proved to be true. So as you embark on this new path, however, you should be mindful of your obligations that you have in terms of your behavior as an attorney. You will hear what I'm about to tell you many times over the course of your career, and you've probably already heard about it in this last week. There are standards of professionalism and civility that guide your behavior, and the law school has adopted those standards. As I stand before you as a judge, I can tell you that adherence to these standards has benefited me throughout my career. The process to become a judge through the merit selection process is essentially twofold. I'm simplifying it a bit, but one aspect is substantive. Does she have the training that we need to put her on the bench? But the other is, what is her character and temperament like? I was told early on by my mentor that your reputation is the most important asset. He said, don't ever compromise your reputation to win. It won't be worth it. And you will be tested on that many times throughout your career, as I was. And sometimes you have to push back to make sure at all times you are preserving your reputation. I would challenge you to read the standards of professionalism at least one time over the next 3 years, because law school sometimes has a way of scrambling your brain and making you forget how to behave. And so to remind yourselves of those, go and read them so that you don't forget what they are. You can even read the preamble, which is just 9 short paragraphs. I won't go through each one of those paragraphs today, but instead what I will do is summarize 5 standards that I have lived by throughout my career that mirror those standards. The first is really easy. Just be kind to everyone. The first 3 paragraphs of the preamble to the law school standards of professionalism and civility direct that attorneys must not be uncivil, abrasive, abusive, hostile, obstructive, but really you can simplify that by just remembering to be kind to everyone. Being kind does not mean that you cannot be an advocate. Justice Sonia Sotomayor has said it best when she said, quote, "Don't mistake politeness for lack of strength," end quote. You can be kind and you can still disagree with opposing counsel. You can still arduently advocate for your client's position. You can even tell opposing counsel no, but do it with professionalism because it matters. I'll share a story with you of something that happened to me early on in my career. I had the benefit of having an excellent senior partner that was my mentor that trusted me, and he allowed me early on in my career to take first chair of a temporary restraining order. This was a case where 2 big companies were competing over a high-level executive. He had left Company A to go to Company B, and Company A said that was wrongful under a contract. And so they filed what's called a temporary restraining order seeking to stop that individual from leaving the company. And I defended that lawsuit. We were polar opposites on the facts and the law, and it was a hard-fought battle. At the end of the day, I was successful in advocating for my client's position and was able to stop the TRO from being entered. When all was said and done, opposing counsel called me and thanked me for my professionalism. He thanked me for my advocacy. He said, "You were a top-notch attorney. You were fair but firm." And that mattered because not only did he say that to me at the beginning of my career, but throughout the course of my career, he was out professing it in the community. The number of times that I had people come up to me and say, "Hey, James Alstrom said, you are great, you were good, you knew what you were doing." And so he said it not only to me, but to others, and that made a difference. Kindness matters. And it matters not just to the judges, to the senior partners, to the other attorneys. Pay attention and thank the other people that help make your world better. Say hello to the attendant when you go into the parking lot. Say hello and thank you to the cleaning lady that makes this building beautiful for you every day. Those people matter the same as the judges and the other professionals in your life. The second lesson is to have empathy. Now that might be funny to hear me say that because as lawyers, we're taught to process the facts, not our feelings. And while that is true when we're looking at case law, that does not have to be true in terms of the way that we engage with other individuals. You can still be empathetic in how you talk to your peers. Having empathy makes you a better lawyer. It will make you a better listener. It will make you have emotional intelligence, which will take you far in life. And you can easily apply this over your next three years as you're here in this building. If you see a classmate that is struggling, ask after them. Ask how you can help, and you will be amazed at the ways and the longevity of how that can make a difference to someone and to you. The third lesson is recognize and respect your privilege. We are all privileged to be in this room. You are going to get an education like no other profession. You will learn to understand the law and how to advocate not only for yourself, but on behalf of others. And that is truly a privilege to be here. Because as I look at all your beautiful faces, for every one of you that are in here, there were 100 more that couldn't get to your spots but had the same desire. And for whatever reason, they were not able to get here. And so when I say to recognize and respect your privilege, I mean pay it forward, give back. The rules of professionalism and civility specifically state, quote, "A lawyer should be mindful of deficiencies in the administration of justice and the fact that the poor, and sometimes persons who are not poor, cannot afford adequate legal assistance and should therefore devote professional time and civic influence in their behalf. A lawyer should aid the legal profession in pursuing these objectives and should help the bar regulate itself in that public interest," end quote. This should be the floor, not the ceiling. When all is said and done, when people talk about me and the excellent and privileged career that I have had, those things will be great. The titles that I've had will be great. But what will be more important to me is what they say about what I did to help others. I hope they say that Cecelia always remembered her humble beginnings, how hard it was to get to this spot, and what she did to reach her hand out and help pull others along, and what she did for the community that helped her get ahead the way that it had. Those are the things that are going to matter in the end, not the titles that I collect. The fourth is embrace, don't fear differences. We have so much to learn from one another. And over the next 3 years, get to know your classmates. These people will be in your life now forever. And I got some demographics about your class that I found interesting. You may already know it, but I understand that you have a class size of 105. 52% are women. And I understand that's the third majority female class. And as a point of personal privilege, I will say, ladies, I think we're bringing it. 15% are people of color. You have a diverse age range, 21 to 53. 51% of you speak a foreign language, and 15% are first-time college graduates. That is amazing. Get to know someone that you didn't think you'd like or have anything in common with. Have a civil discussion with them about your differences and try to find commonality. Don't be afraid to appreciate and expect differences. It is truly what makes us stronger and better as a community. The fifth lesson that I would say is be happy and stay humble. I heard a quote recently that I thought was so true. I searched trying to find who the author of the quote was, and I couldn't find it, but the concept nonetheless still applies. The quote is, there are lots of ways to become humble. Life will do it to you anyways," end quote. Boy, is that true. The number of times that the legal profession has humbled me is too many to count. The number of times that my kids humble me is too many to count. This profession is hard. Getting through law school at times can seem impossible. It also seems that this profession is built to make us compare ourselves to others and seek out praise based on someone else's metric. This unnecessarily puts stress on us in ways that can literally make us ill, physically and mentally. Don't fall prey to that. Find ways to balance yourself and reset your compass. For me, I have my chicas, my girlfriends. Incidentally, I met each one of them through law school or through the legal profession, and they are like family to me. I'm their parents' godmothers. They're my kids' godmothers. My husband says that we don't have date nights because I'm always hanging out with them. But that is what I need to reset my compass. Find your way to reset your compass. Make sure as you go through law school to have fun. Not too much fun. Don't forget why you're here, but have some fun. Those are the 5 lessons that I would offer you. And in closing, I would say one more thing. I would highlight one of the sentences in the preamble to the law school professionalism rules because I thought it was so profound. It said, quote, "Lawyers play a vital role in the preservation of society," end quote. Wow, what a statement. And I think it is completely true. Make sure that you are doing your part to preserve our society in a way that will be long-lasting and meaningful. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you. I now get the privilege to administer your oath, so if I could please have you all stand. If you could raise your hand. Okay, you ready? May everybody get it up there high. All right, so repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey and defend the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of Utah, that I will discharge the duties of law student with honesty, and fidelity, and that I will strictly observe the student code, the Utah standards of professionalism and civility, and the Utah rules of professional conduct, as they apply to my professional, educational, and personal activities as a law student. Congratulations, you may be seated.
Well, congratulations. You survived orientation, and we're excited to welcome you to your first classes next week. So the ceremony is now concluded. We welcome everybody who's here, guests and students, to please join us for a reception outside. Thank you.
That side of the reception area. If you could exit through these 2 doors, that'll make things much smoother. Thank you.
I thought that was for us.
I wasn't sure.
I thought that was for us.